what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, the gateway to new rock and metal music, the podcast that's inspiring young rock and metal fans to discover new rock and metal bands and feel their desire to connect and feel accepted. Welcome to the show, everybody. This one is an episode that's a little over a year in the make because I saw this band live in February 2022. Have remembered them ever since, and now I get to talk to them live. Oh, yeah, you guys are going to enjoy this one. Full disclosure, though, if you hear a little bit of a rattle in the audio, though, that I might not be able to get out, that's because I am recording this during a freezing rainstorm, and that is a bunch of freezing rain hitting the window. So before we jump into the podcast, I want to thank our sponsors, which is Phoenix Fitness. So what does Phoenix Fitness help us with? Phoenix Fitness helps us stay Mosh Pit Fit. What is Mosh Pit Fit? Well, you guys know I love going into mosh pits. It's one of my favorite things to do outside of the podcast. And I like to be in there from the beginning of the first band to the end of the last band and go nuts in every song in between. In order to make sure I do that, I have to hit my fitness goals of being Mosh Pit Fit. So I go to the gym. I'm doing a lot of cardio to make sure my cardio game is up to be able to do that. And I'm lifting a lot too, balancing that out because I need to make sure I'm strong enough to be able to give those hits and take those hits at the same time as well. Your fitness goals might be different, but you can get Mosh Pit Fit with us by doing just that. But you also make sure you're preparing right and recovering right because you want to make sure you can do this day in and day out. You want to make sure your body is being properly fueled and properly recovering. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in with many different supplements to help you achieve those fitness goals or be like us and get Mosh Pit Fit. So how do they do that? They have different products to help you out with that, like different pre-workouts, both stim and stim-free stuff. I use their stim-free stuff because, guys, you guys already can see my energy. I don't need any extra like caffeine or stimulants as it is. So I use their stim-free stuff. Those are different types of B7 recovery compounds to help you absorb the nutrients in your muscles after workout. Creatine help you build muscle. Different types of protein help you build muscle, including collagen protein, plant-based protein, and whey protein. I use their whey protein chocolate malt flavor. That's just what I like. Different types of multivitamins. Literally anything you might need to achieve your fitness goals, that's what Phoenix Fitness has for you to help you get Mosh Pit Fit. So our listeners and viewers of the podcast get 20% off using the code CPP20 at FNXFit.com. Link description of the podcast. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Now time to our feature presentation. Glowing drumsticks, Mini-Gimmicks, and one hell of a live show. So please welcome the guys from Uncured to the podcast. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. I first got to see this band in February of 2022, and it's just a little over a year now since that time happened. I remember I always wanted to bring them onto the podcast after seeing them play live, and, well, it finally fucking happened. This is fantastic. They have a brand new EP called Mesmerizing coming out in June of 2023, and their most recent single, as they're recording this episode, Let's Break Out, is available now for you guys to go check out. But enough with me going on about this whole entire intro. Let's bring them in right now. So please welcome Rex and Zak from the band Uncured to the podcast. So guys, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Kevin, thank you so much for having us. We're really excited.
Let's go, yeah.
Thanks for being on, guys. How has everything been going in your world as of late? You know, more new music coming out, and you guys are probably going to be getting back on the road at least at some point sometime soon because, I mean, hell, we got to see you guys play live again. So how's everything been going?
Everything's been going fantastic. We've been doing a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. We're doing a mini press tour, if you will, doing a ton of podcasts and interviews, which we really enjoy because it's a different way to kind of connect with, individual personalities in the music scene, and then also hopefully, kind of get our music out there to more people and, make some new fans and friends along the way. So, but our main passion really is just playing live, like you said. So we have 2 festivals that we just announced coming up, and we have a lot of tour dates in the works. So we can only talk about the 2 festivals right now because nothing else is announced.
Right.
But
so we have Welcome to Rockville in May coming up. We have and we're going to have shows routing in and out of that. And then we have Inkcarceration in July, which both of them huge festivals we're stoked to be at. We're going to be playing a bunch of our new songs off the EP My Design, and those are still yet to be released, but Let's Break Out is out already. It's got the music video, and where are we at?
yeah.
I completely forgotten you guys were playing both of those Danny Wimmer's festivals, both Welcome to Rockville and Inkcarceration. I was actually at Welcome to Rockville last year, and if there's one thing I can say is definitely bring plenty of water to try and keep yourself cool because it can get rather hot down there. But if you guys get a chance to play in the rain, Oh my God, will people just go absolutely ape crazy for it?
Yeah, we actually played a festival in Florida a little over a year ago, and it was really hot. It was like, I think it was definitely triple digits, so probably over 100, right? And we were going on in like the afternoon heat. I think we played at 4:30 or 5:30 or something like that. So the sun was glaring, but the craziest thing is our computer overheated. So we have our in-ear tracks, so we hear the click and everything. So we needed that to work. And since then, we've invested in a fan, but at the time we didn't have one. So we ran to our van and got a bunch of freezing cold monsters and taped them under the computer, and then taped the computer on top of the rig so that it could cool down enough to run the click.
You should probably make something out of that, because I'm pretty sure Monster would want to sponsor you guys after that, where it's like, when their show looked like it was about to be done, Monster came in and saved the day. Dun,
Yeah,
dun,
but
dun.
the thing is, we are definitely a band that's powered by Monster, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Everybody in this band loves Monster. So yeah, let's get that sponsorship. That'd be great.
With a story like that, it would definitely be worth it. Hell, if you guys walk out like to either Welcome Rockville or Incarceration, because of course it's going to be outside. You've got, my phone's ringing for some random reason. Let's chuck that over there. So when it comes to playing those warmer festivals, you guys might just have that ready to go and be like, remember the last time we were out here and our laptop overheated? It's not going to overheat anymore. And then you pull out a whole entire cooler full of Monster. And you just have the laptop sitting on top of it. It's like, we are prepared for this. Also, Monster, sponsor this shit. Let's go.
We have a slightly more reliable system worked out now, but yeah, regardless, we're always going to have a cooler, a Monster with us.
That's right.
Well, shit. Maybe the next time I see you guys, instead of just bringing beer, I might just be like, okay, I got like 3 cans of Monster, or 3 12 packs of Monster for you guys. So yeah, let's just maybe try and stay awake for 3 straight days. Let's do this shit. So when it comes to these 2 festivals, specifically the both Welcome to Rockville and Incarceration, how'd you guys get put on these, especially both of them? Because I know many bands that have tried so hard to get put on these festivals, given their massive prominence in the rock and metal scene today. But for you guys to be put on 2 separate ones in 1 year, that's incredible. How'd this all happen?
So we just started working with Pavement Entertainment for this most recent release. And prior to signing with them, we had signed with a management company called Hardin and Burke. So we've been working with them closely for a variety of months, both of them. And they're fantastic. They believe in the band. They believe in us. They have the same vision that we do. And it's an honor and a privilege to get to work with people that have that same mindset. And one of those things, when you have the right team of people, things just start to fall into place. And that's kind of what's happening here.
Right. We've been working with 33 and West, which is our booking agent for years as well. So together we have a good team, and they're all tied into the music scene and what's happening. And so together, that's how we got those festivals. And we're going to be routing, as we said, dates into and out of them. So we'll be all over the Midwest, as well as down to Florida, and probably even out to California again too.
See, now I like the sound of that, because it's not just, these festival days are here, we're going to do them, and that's it. You're making the most out of that opportunity by capitalizing every step of the way, so that even as you're going down to these festivals, more and more people get to know who Uncured is, get to know your sound, get to see you live, and get to really get a good feel of it. And that makes me personally excited too, because getting a chance to potentially see you guys, especially for that Incarceration in and out run, especially working through the Midwest, being able to see you guys again, I'm really excited about that, because when I asked you guys for the first time last year, I had no idea who you guys were going into that show, because I'd interviewed Madam Mayhem before, who was also on that bill, and I really wanted to go see her perform live. And it's like, okay, versus me, also from my home state of Wisconsin, can't wait to see this. Now let's see what these guys from Uncured have to bring. And watching you guys play live, it was just like, oh yeah, this is definitely something that everybody's going to want to see live. This show really had everything you really want in a rock show. It was right there. There's still one piece I will never forget, is when all the lights go down and your drummer had these light up drumsticks.
Oh yeah.
And it literally had this really interesting, I've never seen a band do something like that, and especially in any kind of really a setting, but a smaller setting too. It just stands out so powerfully when all the lights go down and all you see are these drumsticks just going all over the place, and you hear these smashing drum solos. It was fantastic.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the specific memory there, because we take a lot of pride in the live set and making sure that there's like specific moments. I call them mini-gimmicks, right? So like if a drummer always played with light up sticks, that'd be a bit of a gimmick. But you do it in one little section of a live set, and it's just like a spectacular moment, right? So one of the things that actually kind of drove us to that kind of thinking, like that avenue of designing the set, was we went to see Meshuggah a while ago. And Meshuggah, for the most part, let me rephrase that. Meshuggah almost entirely just plays the songs. They're tight as hell, and they have the strobe lights. Like it's just like this block of intensity the entire time, right? So that's fantastic. That's awesome. But when we saw them, the lighting guy made a mistake, or maybe somebody from the venue made a mistake, and they turned on the house lights for an entire song. So like, you had like the 7 songs at the beginning, and then there's one song with all the house lights on, and then all the 7 songs like at the end where it was just all crazy lights. And I remember that one moment because you could see the crowd, and it was like this experience. It was like everybody, I felt more connected to the audience and all that kind of stuff, as well as the band. And it was just one of those things that really stood out to me. Like, this is unique. This is not something that really happens that much. So it's a memorable experience, and I think that there's ways to capitalize on that without it being a mistake, right? So the light up drumsticks is one thing. We have a variety of other things, and in the new set we have some new ideas as well. So people are gonna have to come out and see what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not gonna ask you guys what those are because I'd rather be surprised myself and see those live, along with kind of tease it to the point where I want other people to see this live as well. And that is kind of a really cool concept in terms of how it all came to be. The mini gimmick, it stands out to a piece where it's not something that you're hanging on to, but it's something that just stands out in the set where you're not expecting it. But especially as time goes on, it's something that people can latch onto and have a remembering point for the band going forward. Because, I mean, over the course of a year, especially whenever I thought of Uncured, I always thought of those light-up drumsticks. But it was something that had such a positive reaction to it that when it came to when you guys were going back out on the road, trying to find a way to go and see you guys again in order to see that happen and see what else you guys came up with. But then all of a sudden, when I got the opportunity to interview you guys, it just clicked in my brain. I'm like, I want to do this because of something like that, because it made me remember the music and how good the music actually is. So it kind of kept that whole entire idea of keeping Uncured in my brain. And I feel like for a lot of other fans that have seen you live, it's a very similar concept with all these little extra things that you do that create those little moments of the mini gimmick remembrances.
Right. Yeah.
And we take a lot of pride in the live set. It's not just about like playing song after song after song. It's also like what's in between the songs that's memorable. So that's why we had the light up drumsticks. And it's like also the talking in between the songs is like when you could connect with the band more. So we put a lot of time into that. We have a band introduction section. I'm not sure if we did that on the headline tour. I think we did.
We did on some of the shows, not all of them.
Right. So we put a lot of thought into what goes between the songs because that's like a lot of the times what the people remember specifically.
I do have to agree with that as well, because there's a lot of times where, of course, I'm at shows all the time. I remember a lot of different things about certain songs and, going crazy in the pits because that's just what I find fun. But there's always those moments that happen when there's no music being played, when the band is connecting directly with the audience and just how things happen, whether it's just a little speech about whatever it might be on your mind, or just something crazy, or, someone's passport being thrown on stage. And
has that happened?
It happened when I went to go see A Day to Remember back in 2021. Right before their last song, someone's passport threw up on stage, and Jeremy was like, we've had a lot of things thrown up at us on stage. This is by far the weirdest thing ever. Someone's passport is up here. Does anybody know read the guy's name, and the dude was in the middle of the crowd just like, that's me!
What an amazingly bad idea, too. That's actually awesome.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Again, it's those little moments where, you look back at certain shows and you remember those certain things. You remember those certain little values. And by you guys working to put those into your live set, because if you just have one in there, that's fine. But it's the likelihood that, you're connected with the audience just on one little piece throughout the whole entire set. It's not going to stand out as much if you have maybe 3 or 4 pieces like that where you take that little bit of a break, you address the crowd, you talk to them, you connect them in that way. You have something that's going to bring them more into the show. I mean, now you're giving a lot more people a lot more chance to really remember the band, understand Uncured, and really have that point in time where when that set ends, they're doing a couple of things. They're following you on social media. They're already adding your songs to your playlist. They're buying merch from you guys at the merch table, and they're trying to talk to you guys like, dude, that was sick.
Yeah. And, also every show is different. So, for example, when we're playing one of those festivals and we're playing at 4 o'clock, it's going to be broad daylight. Those light up sticks aren't going to make a difference. Nobody's going to see. It's not going to have an impact. So, you can't rely on one thing, which is why I call them mini gimmicks, because, if one fails, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
Whereas if you have a main gimmick, like that's your whole thing, if that fails, then you have a problem.
Yeah, because those bands that kind of have that one main gimmick, it's if it doesn't work out, then, you got to retool a bunch of stuff. If it works out, though, like, think about Ice Nine Kills the example. I mean, everything around horror movies, look at how well that's gone. I mean, it's a few and far between where stuff like that happens. But from your guys' perspective, being able to adapt to so many different things with those mini gimmicks, you're able to curate it to that live crowd at that moment in that setting. You're not relying on the same old tropes over and over again.
I will say this about Ice Nine Kills. I saw them on the Trinity of Terror tour, right? So It was in this order: Motionless in White, Black Veil Brides, Ice Nine Kills. And I've listened to their records and I wasn't like a huge fan. When I saw them live, that was the best live band I have ever seen, and I couldn't believe it. Like, every aspect of their performance was amazing. They sounded amazing. The stage show was so well thought out. The lighting, like every single aspect, like I couldn't believe how good that band was.
No, I know the feeling too. First time I saw them, I remember going to that show. I was like, this was the first time I ever saw Ice Nine Kills. I'm like, I don't even know this band. I've heard one song. And by the end of it, it was, I must listen to everything this band has ever put out. It was that such a heavy connection to it. But again, it's at the same time, you guys are putting together a live set that is going to be best for what you guys are able to do. And with that mini gimmick style, you guys are able to adapt everything you're doing to really put together the best live set you can for whatever for whatever setting you're in. And that's fantastic because you never know exactly what you're going to get into at that moment, and you're able to ride with the energy.
Try to be as adaptable as possible. Like there's times where just things are out of your control, and we have a no complaining rule within our organization, because that's just something that's not the mentality that we want anybody to have, right? Like, accept things and do the best that you can, and it's like stay on that constant quest for improvement, and just like that's just kind of our mentality. So we apply that to different things in the organization, like the way that we rehearse, which actually we can talk about that a little bit because I think it's pretty interesting. So we have a 3-staged rehearsal. Like, we'll have 3 stages to it. So you've probably heard people say that rehearsal is for learning everybody else's part, but practice is for learning your part. But that kind of applies a little bit more to like an orchestra setting, right? So not everybody's like jamming out to that like 1700 century Bach or whatever. So like people might not know the song and all the parts so they'll study the sheet music, learn their part, and practice. But since this is a rock act, everybody knows the song. So rehearsal is not for learning everybody else.
They get knocked out again.
The same way or exactly as intended. So if we have 3 people playing a stringed instrument and I'm doing a hammer-on, he's doing a slide, and our bassist is picking both notes, that's not going to sound as tight as if we've planned out exactly what needs to be happening. So we get super microscopic on that level, and that's kind of phase 1. And then phase 2 would be the visual performance. So
right,
like headbanging.
Yes, so we have a lot of choreographed visuals in the set, whether it's headbanging together. It's like we decide we're going to do the circles here, then we switch to the halftime. We hit the 2s and 4s just straight up and down here.
And there's always that confusion of like, oh, are we doing counterclockwise here?
Right.
Because if you have one guy going this way and one guy going this way,
right,
it looks pretty good. But
we've decided always counterclockwise from now on. And if we ever go side to side, it's right, left, right, left.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of those things locked down. But whenever you add new songs into the set, you still have to like figure out, all right, what are we going to do here? Because just standing around, there's no point to that.
And obviously, not everything is scripted because it's like an organic and raw performance as well. But a lot of times you have to think about those specific those specific elements, right?
Yeah.
And then the third stage of rehearsal, and I do want to come back to that because actually I have a little versus me story that I thought was awesome. And the third stage of that will be, we would go to our gym, which, we're friends with the owner. They have a big like warehouse facility part of it, like a huge turf area. And we'll rehearse there and record the set, video and audio. And we'll listen back, watch it back, and make sure that everything looks and sounds tight, right? So like usually that's kind of more more brutal for me singing, because I'm like, oh man, that's bad, or like I need to work on this part kind of thing. Whereas like, in the practice room, you kind of focus more on the instruments. And then once we get to that last stage, it's primarily a vocal focus, because, if we run the set 4 times a day, I'm only going to sing it, one time, because you just can't sing for 5 hours a day. Right. Even like the best well-trained opera singers in the world, like Pavarotti, for example, when he was singing 4 or 5 hours a day, he got nodules. So like there's just no way to do it, especially in rock. So that's kind of stage 3. And it's sort of like a pseudo performance before we actually hit the stage officially. So it gets everybody's confidence up, and just make sure that we go into it really tight. Now, as far as the versus me thing, we played a couple of really small stages on that tour, and they must have done the same thing too with their rehearsal, because every single night, in the same spots, their bassist and guitarist would spin and stomp on the 3, but the vocalist would like do a super low headbang as they were spinning. So I've seen like 4 or 5 or 6 times where the bassist would spin, and at the same time, since he was standing so close to the vocalist would be ducking underneath it without even looking. It was like some shit out of the Matrix. So it was awesome, and it did it every night. So it was like, that was rehearsed and planned, and it was just really exciting.
But with that sort of rehearsing, that sort of planning being put into it, I mean, even from you guys, you remember exactly what that was like, and remember the emotion behind, like, holy shit, I can't believe that actually happened. And it's happening again and again and again on a consistent basis. But for those of us that are only seeing the show maybe one time for that whole entire set or that whole entire tour run, yeah, we're going to be just like blown away by something like that. And for you guys to really go through and make sure that the live setting has such a powerful notion behind it. You're not taking any chances with that. You're making sure that everything sounds good. You're going through the full entire live setting and picking it apart so that you're making sure that everything sounds good. Make sure that everything is visually appealing to you guys on stage, and then just the synchronicity of it all. I do actually remember that from you guys too. I always remember both of you, because especially with the longer hair, the longer blonde hair, I won't forget, I remember seeing it spin always in the same, like exact same direction, nonstop, and it was super consistent.
I'm sorry, I'm getting another call into my computer. I'll decline that.
Spam call.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
Hey, it's gonna, I mean, we've had the internet cut out of me, call on you guys. You know what? It's just one of those days, as Limp Bizkit would say.
Yeah.
But like, again, as I was saying, like, I do remember you guys during the live show, the head banging, the spinning, just because with the longer hair, it being in such perfect unison where it was mesmerizing just to look at. It was something that it catches your attention, and it makes you want to look at on stage, but also be present to what's going on. You're not thinking about, oh, what's going on my phone, what the person next to me is doing, or is my beer, has my beer sprung a leak yet? You're paying attention to what's going on in the moment. You're just getting lost in that visual aspect of the live setting. So you guys taking the time to really understand every aspect of it, make it as good as possible. I mean, it definitely does stand out, and it's going to continue to do wonders for you guys in the long term.
Hey, I am so glad to hear you say that, because that's exactly how we think about it. And the word you used is the word that I use when I'm talking about this, is I want it to be mesmerizing. So I feel like it feels awesome to hear you say exactly what we were going for. So thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, imagine it. If you're seeing, bands go on stage and everyone's kind of doing that exact same spin in unison, it is something that just draws your eye to. Your attention is right there. You do not want to miss out on any aspect of it, because you know that piece had to have been planned at that time, but you also feel like it was organic at the exact same time too. So it was like, this is planned but not planned. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just too cool not to, that's the best way. It's too cool not to look away from it. It's like, you have to look at this.
Yeah, and the way I kind of think about it is, well, thank you, by the way. But the way I think about it is, even though it's planned, it's a lot of times those things we're doing still feels like we're doing it for the first time. Like you still get that excitement and that kind of buzz and that rush from it. So, we genuinely do feel that when we're on stage, and I think that that's a big part of the reason why it would resonate with the audience.
Yeah, so especially when you guys play Welcome to Rockville, when you play Incarceration, just a lot of people might be going there and might be seeing you guys for the first time, might be hearing about you guys for the first time, might be walking over and just say, hey, this band sounds kind of cool. Let's go check them out. And then they see something like that, one of those little mini gimmicks, or you guys doing something in complete unison to really create that mesmerizing aspect. Now these people are drawn into the rest of your set, and they're going to be going back, maybe to their cars at night, going back to their hotels, going back to the campground, thinking, that Uncured band really stuck out to me. I kind of want to listen to more of them now. Then they're going to be, drinking in the hotel room or drinking in the campground, and they're going to pull up Spotify and they're going to put on some Uncured.
Hell yeah, that's what we
the
hope.
Goal.
And on those festivals, we're going to be playing a cover of a One Step Closer. So even if you don't know as much Uncured material, I better hear everybody screaming, "Shut up!" It's gonna be awesome.
Shut up! What I'm talking about. Just having a blast. And also when it comes to doing covers, of course, Linkin Park covers are never going to be the easiest thing in the world, just given how unique of a vocal set Chester had. But it's one where everyone in that crowd, especially in a rock and metal festival, if you pick one of like 10 or 12 Linkin Park songs, everyone's going to know every single word to it.
True. We actually had a pretty hard time deciding which song
one to pick
to cover. I mostly wanted to do, not mostly, it was between Numb and One Step Closer. And we just felt like One Step Closer would be the better song live. We watched, I've watched tons of Linkin Park live videos, and you can just tell the energy for that song is especially high.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, all right, that's it, obvious choice.
I also feel like with your guys' stage presence too, One Step Closer will be a much better song compared to Numb, just because when you think of Numb has such a heavy emotional impact for so many people. And for a lot of people that, especially in 2017, watching the show at the Hollywood Bowl, even if you watch it online, just when they play Numb and there's no one out there, there's no guest vocalists, no nothing, and it's just the fans singing along to it and just a light shining down on the mic. It's something where that emotion really comes in there. So if you're not accurately potentially hitting that emotion, it might have a different sound to a lot of different people. But if it's One Step Closer, you have that more anger, you have that more animosity, you have that more energy-driven style there. So with your guys' stage setting, especially in a live setting, I feel like that's definitely going to be the better choice in terms of really captivating the audience. And for you guys even as well, sounding as incredible as you guys do.
Oh, thank you. And the video you're talking about, I've watched. I think it might be Crawling, but I have watched it a ton of times. That's awesome. Because they do there's a couple where they would just take their hits and they did them as just piano and Chester. The one I've seen the most is where they did Crawling, but that's awesome. I've watched that video a ton. It's very cool.
If I remember correctly, I think they did Crawling, but they had Ollie Sykes come out and do Chester's vocals for that piece.
Oh, in the tribute show?
Yeah, in the tribute show.
Oh no, I was thinking about they did a tour in 2017, and for Crawling, I think most of the nights they just had just piano and him in the crowd singing it, and it was awesome. But yeah, I've also seen the Ollie Sykes one because I'm a big Bring Me the Horizon fan. So yeah, that's fantastic too.
Yeah, I do actually now know what you're talking about too, because I've seen videos from that final tour, and you are correct. It was just for Crawling. It's just Chester out there. Pretty much every single video you see, it's him shirtless and just pouring all his emotion out there with the piano playing in the back. And of course, who's on the piano? Mike Shinoda.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of my most watched videos, I think.
I don't blame you, man. I mean, it's a good, powerful video. And it also reminds us a lot of just the impact that Linkin Park and Chester Bennington had on so many of us in the rock and metal scene, where for me, if it wasn't for Chester actually opening that door to anything with unclean vocals, I probably would just be sticking with hard rock pretty much the whole entire time. But getting into that, being open to the interpretation of that, shoot, now it's I know, if there's a metalcore act coming around, you're going to find me in the middle of that crowd.
Hell yeah.
Which is still really kind of cool. So, of course, you guys have the brand new EP, My Design, coming out in June with Let's Break Out already released. What else can we expect from you guys on this EP because I listened to Let's Break Out, and there are some definite things where I'm like, I can't believe they actually did that. I can't believe they pulled that off. I love what they did with the little unclean addition in the bridge that really made the power of this song really come out. But what else can we expect from you guys in this EP? Because you guys got me excited with Let's Break Out. I want to know what else is coming. Not specifics. I want to get that like teaser. So I'm like, why isn't this thing out now?
Right. So we, well, one thing that we already mentioned, we do have the One Step Closer recording on there as well. And the physical CD does have a bonus track. But as far as the other tracks go, I feel like we did like our best job yet of having like catchy choruses, still heavy breakdowns. We have one song that's just an absolute banger the entire way. And then we have also one song that's a more emotional ballad, which is something we haven't done before. So we definitely have a lot of variety on these on this EP. And we're still trying to focus in on what we really want to do. But for this EP, we really, there's a lot of variety. Not all the songs sound the same. And it's like, we do feel like it's a complete work in that regard.
Yeah, I think that what I'm most excited for is releasing some of the darker tracks, because Let's Break Out is definitely a bit of a feel-good kind of song. But that's kind of an outlier, actually, because, energetically, the rest of the album is not that lighthearted, go lucky, happy sound, So I'm excited to put out something that's a little bit more aggressive and angsty.
Yes.
Ooh, now you guys got me excited because, I'm a little bit more on the aggressive, angsty side of the music scene as well for my personal taste, so I'm always more curious about what's going to come there. But think about Let's Break Out as well when you're talking about, maybe some of those catchier choruses that really will hook people in. Let's Break Out definitely has that, and in my opinion, the final chorus, especially coming after the bridge where it kind of brings in more of that heaviness side towards the end, that chorus really hits a lot more impactfully just following that, just given the little bit of that contrast in between sounds. I thought, especially when it comes to a hook, I'm like, damn, this really does work. But think about more in that positive setting too. Watching the music video for that, what you guys did with all the different choreography that was in the what you had with the dancers on stage as well, it did bring more of that positive, uplifting feel to it. So even visually, you were already getting that as well. And speaking about, you guys are talking about the live setting with you guys pretty much working unison, rehearsing it a lot to make sure that you guys have those certain spots down that are going to stand out. You could see it just happen in the music video as well with all the different bits of choreography that were happening from one scene to the next. Yeah,
and we worked with, the short blonde dancer, not me, the other short blonde dancer, choreographed everybody's movements for all of that. So, I went to the dance school a variety of times and worked with her on that choreography. And yeah, man, we've been wanting to do that I've been wanting to do that for a while, and we decided this was the right song to do it for, because this is, I'm gonna say it here now, this is probably the most positive and uplifting song that we will ever do. Like this one, we had to really push ourselves to make it, to make it have that energy, and I think that I don't, artistically feel the need to continue to write in that space.
Right. And speaking of that, is even there's 6 songs on the EP. We have official music videos for 3 of them. So one is Let's Break Out. Then the other one is very aggressive, very brutal.
The titles are out. So the one for Fight This War, very aggressive. That was probably my favorite music video ever too. Like there's some elements in it that are just combine a lot of things that I really like. So I'm very, very excited for that one. And then there's another music video for a song called Another Angel Dies, which is the ballad that we were talking about.
Well, shit. You guys are getting me more excited for you guys to release more of this EP, more of these videos. Because again, after looking at Let's Break Out, using the dancers again for a song that is probably going to be the most positive song you guys ever write, it stands out to really bring that energy and more of that positivity to there. But when you're talking about, the darker ones, the more emotional ones as well, always like the music videos, I always love when they actually go really in depth with the storytelling, with the visuals, and really connecting it with where the song is going, both sonically and with its meaning through the lyrics. So I'm still really curious to see what you guys come up with, especially after how you guys are able to connect the emotion to the visuals with Let's Break Out.
Yeah, thank you. I can't wait to put it out there, and we're deciding on a date for the next release.
Yeah.
But
probably a few weeks still.
Within probably the next 5 or 6 weeks, I think that video is going to be out there. Hoping.
Oh shit! So all of a sudden, when that video drops, I'm just gonna be like, "Must watch it now!"
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's right.
I mean, I won't be going like this because then I'll be typing random gibberish. I'll actually make sure, type it normally and then just have the video of me going at like Bruce Almighty trying to respond to all the prayer emails.
Yeah.
There we go. And I mean, I think we're going to be releasing that one like with Metal Sucks, Metal Injection as well. So this is definitely more for the metal crowd, the fans of our heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to have that one out there.
Yeah.
It's like, goddamn, you guys keep getting me more and more excited for this shit. It's like I can only get so excited, guys. Come on.
Fantastic.
But this is like this EP. I'm already feeling. I mean, especially after Let's Break Out, seeing the positive side of it, seeing a little bit of a different side of you guys on this track, seeing what else you guys and hearing about what else you guys are going to be working through here. Plus, with the focus on the live saying as well. 2020, I almost said 2020 something, but 2023 could possibly be the best year that you guys have so far. And I have to say so far because I don't want to say it's going to be the best you guys ever have because this ain't the peak. We got to keep going towards that peak. I want to have the best year you guys ever have, like much later down the line where it's, when you guys are going out there and you guys are playing shows and playing at these festivals, it's, when you're going on stage, it's dark outside and there's like thousands upon thousands of people just going, bring it the fuck on! Uncured! Yeah!
Yes, exactly.
That'd be awesome. As I don't know if you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but as Dennis Reynolds said, I have not even begun to peak. So that's we can't wait for that.
Yeah, but unlike Dennis Reynolds, you guys actually have not begun to peak yet. Dennis Reynolds peaked when he was like 17.
Yeah, he did. Oh, that's pretty funny.
I mean, well, that's what happens when you're the golden god, and now I'm untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
What an iconic scene. Every time I think of Dennis, I think of that. It's amazing.
There's that one, and then any of the ones where him and Mac moved to the suburbs. Anything from there with Wally, or just like the smoke detector. All of a sudden, it's like you're not hearing that
Flash,
asshole. Flash.
I've been hearing it the whole time. Yeah.
And then they're about to win it. And it's like, all right, Frank's going to buy him the house. You guys get to live here for free forever. And then they end up going in back to their apartment in Philly and sleeping with the old man.
Yeah.
You guys haven't begun to peak yet. But it's actually true. It's not Dennis Reynolds, mental gymnastics trying to think that.
There we go. Thank you.
We have decided, if we were It's Always Sunny, who would be each character. And I was labeled as Dennis. So.
All right, I gotta go into this just a tidbit before we head out. Why were you labeled as Dennis?
Well, how do I explain it without? I guess there's definitely some undeniable similarity there. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Well then, Zach, what about you?
You know what? I don't even remember this. So what was I?
Well, we gave Zach Charlie because he's really bad at reading.
That's true.
But then don't forget, everyone loves Charlie.
Charlie is Charlie and Frank are the best characters.
There we go.
Just don't go playing night crawlers with each other, or maybe do. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you guys what to do.
Yeah, that would be a little strange, I guess.
Be a little strange, especially you guys are doing it in the tour bus. But you know what? It would make for one hell of a story.
That was true.
It could be. Well, guys, as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, one thing I like to do is give my guests, which is both you in this instance, a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever promote at the end of the podcast. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
All right. Please follow Uncured Band on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and stream us on Spotify. That's what helps the most, helps a ton. And we want to see you all at our shows coming up soon, singing the words with us.
That's right. Welcome to Rockville, an Incarceration Festival, and a lot more to be announced.
Hell yeah. So here's what I want everyone to do with these next 3 topics. First things first, you're going to want to make sure that you're ready when My Design drops in June. You're going to be ready when they drop more of the videos, more of these songs and singles, and go and see them play live at either Welcome to Rockville, Incarceration, or on any of those shows they're going to be playing in between those runs. So here's what you're going to do. Go to the description of the podcast, say find Uncured online. links and labels for all their social media accounts where you can follow along with them, where you can watch these YouTube videos, where you can find them online in terms of buy their merch, buy those tickets to those shows, and know when those shows are happening, and stream that music are all going to be in the description of the podcast. So I'm doing all the work. All you guys have to do is click the link and go to the one that you want. Hit that like, share, subscribe, play, stream, buy, download, whatever it is button. I got you guys covered. Now it's time for number 2, and I'm going to amend this one a little bit. So whenever I guest on the podcast, I enjoy the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise as a way to say thank you for being on the podcast and as a way to say I wish to continue to support the band in the future. Every band has hit on this, and you guys have absolutely hit on this as well. So my promise to you is the next time I get to see you guys perform live, which will hopefully be this year in between one of those Welcome to Rockville or Incarceration ones. When I get to get from live for the next time, I will find you guys. I will go out to my car. I will open up the trunk and I'll have a shit ton of Monster and be like, thank you guys.
There we go.
Thank you, bro. That's what I love to hear.
I may even put like a little like picture of a computer on there that says for laptop use only.
There we go.
Laptop use only.
Absolutely. So, guys, as we bring this to conclusion, I cannot say goodbye because, one, I made that promise to you guys, and I do want to see you guys perform live once again. I want to see what other mini gimmicks you come up with. And secondly, I do not want to be the only time I have you guys in the podcast. I would love to have you back on again in the future. So this cannot be goodbye. This has to be, I'll see you later.
We'll see you later, bro.
That's right. We'll see you later, bro.
Well, folks, that was my interview with Rex and Zak from the band Uncured. And now it is time for Kevin's final thoughts. So, after reflecting a little bit on this episode, one thing that really stood out to me was when Rex came up and said, hey, man, you know, when you said something about our live show that I always say, and it's mesmerizing, describing it as mesmerizing, and hearing about, you know, the idea that they have behind their live show with the idea of mini gimmicks, which are not things to, you know, really rely on, but things to just bring a little more flair to the show that they can use day in and day out, that you never know when they're going to show up. They might have even more than you guys even know, but the focus that they put on creating that experience and creating that connection to a live show where you are drawn to it, you want to go and watch it, you don't want to be focused anywhere else, whether it's, you know, my beer sprung a leak, I got to go get a new one, my phone buzzed, I got to go check out what it is, or the person next to me is talking to me, I'd rather turn my head and, you know, start talking about, hey, how's the weather going? No, what they're doing is they're putting so much time and effort in the live show. They're trying to captivate you, and they want to captivate your attention to really let you be lost in the moment. And I love the amount of effort they put in there between making sure they sound as tight as possible, making sure that their movements are somewhat choreographed in a way to stand out, like the spinning heads and the kind of like, you know, twirling the head so you can like bang your head at the same time, twirl the hair, you know, kick the hair going all the way in the counterclockwise formation. The glowing drumsticks, just everything to make sure that their live set stands out. So by the time you are done seeing them live, you felt like you went through an experience and connected with them. That is something that it really stood out to me because it made a lot of sense talking to them a year after seeing them live for the first time. And the fact that their live show still sticks out in my mind from 2022. It speaks volumes about the band. We'll put it that way. And I mean, in the end, I am really happy about this one, man. I mean, I'm really happy to see that that is their mindset. They want to make the best music possible, but they want to do everything visually that they can to captivate you in a live setting so that you are connecting to their music, connecting the emotion, and really being involved in every bit of live show so that, you know, you're going to be there for about, you know, maybe they have a set that's 30 minutes long, maybe they have a set that's an hour long. They're going to maximize their time in that set so you remember exactly who they are, and I absolutely love the mentality behind it. You can impact a lot of people in a live setting, but you're not going to impact, you know, people that are 3,000 miles away. What can you do in that live setting that's going to make the most of those people and make you guys mesmerizing and remember you? Uncured knows what they're doing. They have mentality, and I'm glad they do. So when it comes to making sure you find Uncured live and following them and be ready when my design drops, go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Uncured online. Links for all their social medias, links for YouTube, links for Spotify or Apple Music, links where you can get merch and find those tickets where you can see them live, you know, on their way to Welcome to Rockville, on their way back, or on their way to Incarceration on their way back. Make sure you go and do that. You're not going to miss out on these guys live. Make sure you also find along the Chord podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for your viewing pleasure. You can find all the different short content we do there, along with Instagram live streams every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. Also, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or hit that follow button if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Make sure you're subscribing to the podcast all along. I want to thank you if you are. It really means a lot to me as we continue to grow and really continue to try and, you know, get past that low point when we came out the I Struggle video. So Yeah, thank you guys. That's all I can really say about that. Also, thank you, Phoenix Fitness, 20% off using the code CPP20 at FXS Show the podcast. Thank you guys from Uncured once again. Cannot wait to see you guys play live in 2023, and cannot wait to see you guys have in store for us all those little mini gimmicks. So on that note, that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one with a big, healthy, and hearty. See ya.